Today in this tutorial we are going to learn how to draw a beautiful colorful bug with a leaf on the top. So to start off drawing, we first want to do a semicircle. It's kind of like the body of the bug. So you draw one semicircle on the top, and in the bottom you draw a straight line, and then you draw the face, which is almost like a circle but at an angle because the bug is looking onto the side. And then you draw the eyes, which are two round circles, and then draw the eyeball on the inside just like that. And then you draw the nose, or you could call that a mouth. And then we're gonna do the hair, and the forehead is gonna come down in the center like that. And I'm gonna do a red bow on the top of the head. So we're gonna do two triangles facing each other like that, and then finish off the top of the head. And then we're gonna draw those two antennas and finish the body. Now we're gonna do the legs, and we're gonna do a few of those. So draw like a small little V in the bottom, and then a circle in the bottom. A V and a circle, a V and a circle. Next, another V and a circle. And now we're going to do some flowers inside the body. And now that we have a lot of spring flowers everywhere, we're going to do some pinks and orange flowers, and maybe some red. But in order to do the flowers, it's just basically small little wiggles and in a circle, and that just shows the different petals in the flower. So I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could do 5 petals, or you could do 6 petals. It doesn't matter, as long as you fill the body with the petals, with the flowers, and then draw some stems in the bottom. So we're going to do some more flowers, and we're going to draw the stem all the way in the bottom, and then we're going to draw a few buds. So those are the buds which are alongside the stem. And then we're going to draw more flowers in the stem. So we're going to do some flowers which are a little bigger, some are which are a little bit small in size, and that gives a nice interesting look for the body instead of doing just one size flower. So there you go. I'm doing a very tiny little flower which is ready to blossom in the bottom, and then we're going to do tiny little flowers on the side, and then some big flowers in the center, and then a few buds here and there, and maybe one more flower here, and another flower, and a couple of buds, and that's it. I think that looks good. And then let's draw some grass around the bug, and we're going to do just the top layer of the grass. And I just wanted to smooth out the shape of the face, and then add some grass in the bottom. And then we're going to do a leaf. So that's the stem of the leaf. When you're drawing this, keep your wrist on the bottom of the paper, and then make small lines and connect them to get a nice smooth curve. So we're going to draw that stem, and then we're going to continue that stem to give you the direction of the leaf, and the leaf is kind of bending over the bug. So that's the shape of the leaf. We're going to do a little bit of curve on either side of that leaf and either side of that line. The line is showing the center of the leaf, and then the outside on the top it curves down a little bit, and in the bottom you have curving up a little bit. And the reason I love to do this leaf on top of the bug is it really shows you the size of the bug in comparison to the leaf. Now that we have it all drawn out, let's erase a little bit of the drawing in order to make sure that we get a very light sketch, because you don't want too many pencil lines showing through your watercolor painting. Okay, now let's do some sketching. So I'm taking a very light pink, and I'm holding it in an angle, and I'm going on top of the body. This gives the kind of like the shape of the body. Like I just want to color it all around the body to give a base coat. So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to take this orange and draw out the outline of the flower and then fill it up. So we're going to do an outline like so and then fill it up. And we're going to do a couple more with this color, and then we'll switch the colors. And it's always good to have nice sharp pencils, so make sure your pencils are sharpened and they have very good tip. And then I'm using the brown to draw the stem, but let's keep the brown aside for a minute. Let's just finish all the flowers. So I'm gonna do all the flowers. So like so, you do the outline and then you color, fill up the color on the inside. And just keep going. And now I'm switching the pencil and I'm trying to add a different color in between. So the 3 different colors that I used are red, pink, a light pink, and a darker pink. So feel free to use whatever colors you want. You could use yellows, you could use purples, you could use oranges. Just use your creativity and have fun with it. So I'm just going to fill up all the flowers and color them. And switching to pink. And then red. And now I'm gonna do the cheeks, the blush on the cheeks in light pink. It's just circles on either side of the face, on the cheeks. And that's gonna look super duper cute. And then I'm gonna use a dark brown to shadow the hair. So just draw the outline and fill it up. So you can see how sharp my pencil is, and unless you have the pencil that's sharp, you won't be able to get nice lines like that and do all the details. So make sure you're sharpening your pencils. If you're not, you can just pause the video, go and sharpen your pencils and keep them ready for the class. So finish the hair and then do the bow, and I'm doing the bow in red, so just fill up the bow with red. And fill up the hair on top of the bow with the brown. And then do the antennas in black. There you go. Now the head part is done. For the eye, use black, circle the eye, and then do the eyeball and leave a little bit of sparkle inside the eye. And then do a couple of eyelashes, like so. And then you want to use brown for the mouth, and then we're going to use the same brown to complete the face. So just outline the face with that brown. Now I'm going to use a dark green to color the grass which is underneath the bug. And the reason I'm using a dark green, and you want to go around the feet of the bug, that tiny little feet that we drew. The reason we want to do dark green right underneath the bug is because the bug is casting a shadow on the grass, and it's going to be a little bit darker than the grass that you see which is away from the bug. So right underneath it, I'm going to use a dark green and color that up. So make sure you pull out a couple of shades of green, one dark and one light for this project. And you want to draw the grass, color the grass as well. So we're going to use this dark green and outline the grass line like so, and start coloring it. And then I'm going to use a very light green to just hold the green in an angle and start shading the other parts of the grass, which is away from the bug, and make it nice and even. If you hold the pencil in an angle, you're going to get nice even shades than holding the pencil straight down. And then use a medium color green to blend those two colors. So you always want to make sure that the color is nicely blended. We don't want like harsh lines. So it looks like the green is gradually from comes dark to light. And then do these grass, a little bit of grass on the side. So always going dark to light. Now let's draw the leaves. So first what I want to do is I want to take a light green and draw the center of the leaf like that, and then also draw the stem of the leaf going down. Then I'm going to use a darker shade and do just darker line on one side of the leaf. That's because the light is hitting from the top and you'll have darker shades in the bottom. And then I'm going to take the light green again and kind of do an overall shading on the leaf. For this, you want to hold the pencil again in an angle and do these circular strokes along the leaf to get nice even color. And then you want to make the leaf look a little bit more three-dimensional. For that, we always darken the edges of it and make the shading a little bit lighter as you come to the center of the leaf. So go a little bit darker and lighter in the center. So darker in the corners and shade it and make it lighter in the center. And that's the way you do this, is you put a little bit more pressure when you're shading in the corners, and as you're coming to the center, you put less pressure. And you're going to do the same in the bottom part of the leaf. The bottom part of the leaf is going to be a little bit more darker than the top part because of the way the light is hitting the leaf. So we want to show that the light source is coming from top. So the bottom part of the leaf is going to be a bit darker compared to the top part. So that's what I'm drawing here. And I also want to show that center part of the leaf, that bright green that we did first. So I'm going to shade this dark green right above that and also below it so that your light green kind of pops. So now I'm going to do the same, draw the corners of the leaf a bit dark. And I like to move my paper in angles a little bit so that it's convenient for me when I'm drawing. And you can do the same thing too. You don't have to always have the paper in one direction. You can move it around for your convenience. And so now that you made either sides of that center vein darker, you can see how it's popping out and looking nice and bright. I'm just going to add a little bit more green, a light green, to make the leaf a bit brighter. And now I'm going to do the feet. I wanted to do yellow in those triangles that we drew, the V's. And then I want to use black to show the feet in just circles. And fill it up. Do a circle and fill it up. Again, you want very sharp pencils, so make sure your pencils are nice and sharp. And now I'm going to take pink and make the corners of the bug's body a little bit darker. And as you come to the center, making it lighter. This is going to make the bug look a little bit more three-dimensional instead of two-dimensional. So kind of like that. But don't lose the brightness on the body. Like just do a little bit of shading in between the flowers. Again, you don't want to do too much because you lose the color on the flowers. The flowers will just blend into the background. We don't want that. So just make sure that you're not doing too much pink, but just like a very light shade. And also right underneath the neck, you want to do a little bit darker because the head always casts a little bit of shadow on the neck. And now we're done with the coloring. Let's start painting. So we take a brush, dip it in water, and we always want to dab it on the paper so we don't have excess water in the brush. And then I'm going to start painting the leaf first. So I'm going to start with the top part of the leaf. Your stroke should always go in that direction. Have your wrist on the paper and use a nice brush with a good tip so you stay within the lines and you don't go out of the lines. So that's the key here. We want to always stay within the line. Hold the pencil brush a little bit closer to the tip. Don't hold it too high up, and always have your wrist rested on the paper to give you good support. After you're done with the lighter shade on the top, then you want to do the darker shade in the bottom. As you all know, we always go light to dark when we start painting the watercolor paints after we're done shading. So now that we are done with that, let's wash the brush, dab it on the paper, and do the bottom part. We don't want to do the vein in the leaf and the stem right now because we want the leaf to dry. So now for the grass, you just want to give strokes like that, pointing upwards, and make them in an angle. And then use that little tip and be very careful as you're painting the green right around those feet, tiny little feet. So you want to make sure that you're not touching the black, you're not touching the yellow. We want to keep all that nice and clean. So just take your time, don't rush, just go around the feet and color just the green. And then when you start coming and doing the leaves, like make small, so make grass like that, like paint it upward, and then start shading the rest of the grass. So now wash your brush so you don't have much paint, and then you go from outside, from the lighter part, and start blending into that darker part, and give a little bit of texture on the grass so it doesn't look very flat. And make sure you're blending the dark and light because then it'll look very beautiful. It'll look more, and I'm giving a little bit of texture, as you can see, that shows the grass very nicely. So just going zigzag with your brush. It doesn't have to be a particular texture, but just have fun while doing it. Then add a few grass blades in the top. And now I'm going to do the stem because the leaf is all dried up. So wash your brush and come back and paint the stem. We already have all our shading and colors in there. And then also paint the center of the leaf. Make sure you're touching only that part so it's nice and clean. Now I'm gonna start doing the face, the blush. So wash your brush very nicely so you don't have any green in it, and then take a damp brush and start doing the cheeks. And then take that fine tip of the brush and do the hair part. In order to make sure you get a nice thin line, you have to hold the brush straight down and you have to put very little pressure on the paper. If you put more pressure, the bristles will just expand and you won't be able to get that nice thin line. So you have to touch the paper very gently. You don't want to go to put too much pressure on the paper. That's how you get nice thin lines. And then I'm gonna shadow the bow. Make sure you wash the brush and you don't have any brown, so you get nice bright red bow. And so that's it with the face. I don't want to paint the eyes or the mouth on the antennas because they're very thin lines and I want to leave it like that. And now for the rest of the body, you want to come and go from the center of the body, which is a bit lighter, and kind of go in between the flowers and paint the rest of the body. And when you're going into the lighter shades, always wash your brush and make sure there is absolutely no paint in your brush, or else you will lose that bright white spots in the center of the body and you will end up having one pink blob, and we don't want that. So every time you think you have some pink paint in your brush and you're painting the lighter part of the body, you want to go and wash the brush like I'm doing right now, and then come back with the lighter part of the body and paint that. And once you're done with shading the body, you want to start doing the flowers. But before we start doing the flowers, we have to leave the body for a little bit to make sure it dries. So in the meantime, you can come and do those tiny little feet. Color the black in circles. And then color the yellow. Make sure you're not touching the black. And wait for the body to dry. I waited for some time and now the body looks nice and dry, so I started doing the flowers. I painting the flowers. So you just come and start painting the insides of the flowers. You've already done the shading, so it's just painting them right now. Now you're done with that. Now come back with your black and start drawing the stems of your leaves, and also draw a little dot in the center of the flower to show the center part of those flowers. And now they're starting to look more like flowers, aren't they? So you draw that center part of the flower and then you draw the stems and connect all the flowers. And draw the stems to the bottom of the body like that, and then also give a couple of buds. And the buds I'm gonna do in brown, kind of like that. And then we just continue doing stems and buds in the centers of the flower with black and brown. The reason I'm doing with black and brown is because I want a little bit of contrast in that body, and this gives a nice contrast. So there you go, we're done with the bug. Now let's do some veins in the leaf. So I'm going to take that black and kind of do these very light veins, and as you draw them, just don't put too much color, don't put too much pressure, just draw the ones which go alongside the way the leaf is folding, but very few and with a little bit of distance, and very light, don't want too dark. And then use water to blend that. By the way, we're not going to blend the stems and the buds on the body because it's very small little area, and I want to leave them like that to show nice crisp lines. So we're not going to paint those lines in the body. So there you go. We are done with a beautiful watercolor pencil painting of this colorful, wonderful bug underneath the leaf. Isn't that cute?